Hey there, Mustangs, and welcome to Mustang Musings Assembly number 8. This is such a big assembly that we have actually split it across 2 different parts. We're going to do the first 25 minutes in your Mustang room today, and then we're going to finish the rest of the assembly on the Thursday after you're back from spring break. It's such a big assembly because we are concluding M Games Part 1 and launching the ever more important M Games Part 2. So we're pretty excited about that, and I want to go through as many of the details as I can right now. Now, we're not done with M Games Part 1. We still have the concluding activity tomorrow for our final bingo board that we've done. That bingo board, if you get 1 bingo, you get a taco from the taco truck. 2 bingos, you get a taco plus a drink. 3 bingos, you get a taco plus a drink plus a dessert. And of course, if you get the blackout, you are in the drawing for the Kindle. So one final big push today and through the morning of tomorrow. Get those bingo boards filled out so that you can participate in the taco truck. It's one of the best events of the entire year. So we want to see you there. Now, let's talk about what we're doing for this first part of M Games Part 2 in this assembly today. There are a few things I want to review. We are shifting gears from our general practice of habits that are really conducive to doing well in school and on tests, such as, reading 20 minutes a night, doing your IXL and things like that. Those are still important. We want to continue those. But when we go into M Games Part 2, we start to get a little bit more specific, and we start to review specific concepts, actual things that you have learned throughout the course of the year that are likely to get put on your end-of-year RISE test. We want to make sure that we've reviewed those, we've practiced those, and that we're feeling very prepared for them. Now, when we do the second part of this assembly after spring break, we are going to play a friendly game of Family Feud between the 7th and 8th graders. For those who don't know how Family Feud works, basically, you're trying to guess the most popular answers to some standard questions. And one family, the 7th graders, go against another family, the 8th graders, to see who can predict what the most popular answers were. Now, I'm giving a little bit away because when we do our M Games Part 2, we will actually be doing a friendly competition between all of our 7th graders and all of our 8th graders. Now, we'll go into the details of that game when we do the second part of this assembly right after spring break on that Thursday. So for now, let's go ahead and pause the video. We're going to fill out the Family Feud survey to find out what are the responses from the student body of Westlake STEM. And welcome back. We've got your answers in. We'll be looking forward to collecting those and finding out which answers were the most frequent occurrences. And then when we do our Family Feud game on the assembly after we're back after spring break, we'll see how the 7th graders and 8th graders do at predicting or guessing the most popular answers that you just submitted. Now, I'm going to have the teachers pass out a goal sheet that we will be using as we go into our RISE testing. And this is a sheet that's easier to reflect upon when we're in this setting, in the classroom setting, rather than if half of us were down in the multipurpose room. And that's why we want to do it as part 1 of this assembly. This goal sheet is a little different than the goal sheet we gave you at the last assembly, or the last time we did this. They still are actually reflecting on the same data. Specifically, it's data that show how you did on the RISE test for the last 3 years in language arts, math, and science. Now, in the goal sheets we gave you last time, I think those are the easier to work with. We actually adjusted the numbers to make them comparable to what you would see on your by the standard mastery tracker or your report card, using the scale of 1, 2, 3, 4 to show how proficient you are. 3 and 4 is usually considered proficient or highly proficient. 2 and 1 are below proficient or approaching proficient. So we're used to that scale already. Excuse me. We're used to that scale already, and so we think that will be the better goal sheet. However, this second goal sheet that your teachers are about to pass out are the official goal sheets from the district that show the scale that you will need to be familiar with, because when you take the RISE test, these are the scores that the RISE tests are going to first show you, and they're a little bit different, a little harder to understand. Now that you've got the goal sheet in front of you, I want to walk you through it just a little bit. And you can watch on the screen or you can watch on your own sheet. You'll see at the very top, it's going to have some information about you, your student ID, your student name, and what school you're at. Then it says SAGE and RISE historical scale scores and proficiency levels. SAGE and RISE are state end-of-level tests in English Language Arts, ELA, mathematics, and science. The scale score is shown in the proficiency level, below, approaching, proficient, or highly proficient, using your previous SAGE and RISE scores. Plot a goal for your 2022 RISE assessment in the highlighted bar for each subject. So this is kind of like what we did on our previous goal sheets last time. Take a look at the first box there. It says Language Arts, and you're going to see columns for each year that you have taken these tests. Many of these will go back 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade if you're an 8th grader. So you should be able to see a score for each of those that you actually took a test. You'll see in each of those columns there's 4 bands. There's the red at the bottom, there's yellow, then there's the green, and then there's blue on top. Each of those represents a level of proficiency, and these are the levels of proficiency we used on the goal sheets we gave you before. Red is below proficient, so that's somewhere between 1 to 2. Yellow is approaching proficient, that's somewhere between 2 and 3. Green is proficient, that's somewhere between 3 and 4. And then blue is highly proficient, or that's something 4 or above. So when you think of the goal sheet you looked at last time, that's how that corresponds. One of the reasons we do it the way we do on the goal sheets from last time is it gets confusing when you go from 3rd grade to 4th grade, 4th grade to 5th grade, 5th grade to 6th grade, 6th grade to 7th grade, and so forth. You'll notice that those bands keep moving up. So a score one year might be proficient, and the same score might be approaching proficient or below proficient the next year or 2 years out. So watch that carefully. This shows it pretty well that you can see that the scale goes up independent of how your scores do. So take a good look at that. Now, on the last column there, whether it's 7th grade or 8th grade, there's a box where you can put a dot of where you would like to see your performance be. A suggestion, you want your dot to be closer to the green and blue sections than you are right now. You want to get closer and closer to the proficient or highly proficient zone. Doesn't mean you have to get there this year. That might be too big of a goal, but you want to be closer to it at the end of this year's testing. We're going to go ahead and pause the video so that you can look at yours and put a dot somewhere on that column for either 7th or 8th grade, depending which your sheet is. For language arts, then do the same thing for math, and then do the same thing for science so you know about what you're shooting for. If you want to pull out your goal sheet that we filled out last time and see exactly what value you were aiming for, you can do that and then decide where that would be on this chart. Go ahead and pause the video and do that step. Nice work, Mustangs. Just like we did last time, I am begging you to keep this sheet in an important place, whether it goes on the fridge or somewhere in your binder that you'll see it often. There is nothing more important in achieving a goal than to remembering what your goal is. And you've just marked your goal for how you're going to perform in your language arts, your math, and your science. Now, most of the rest of what we're going to talk about for M Games Part 2 will be in the assembly after spring break. However, I want to finish for a moment by actually sharing out some of the real experiences of our very own Mustangs. We asked many of the students who are currently at our school who showed the most growth in their performance on these tests, why they did it, and how they did it. This is what they told us.
I just want to be able to know that I can do what I want to do, hopefully get into my dream college, and show everyone that didn't believe in me that I can do bigger stuff.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, and I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do
End-of-year testing is coming. RISE tests are given in science, English, and math. These tests are important to you and to Westlake.
We do RISE for two important reasons. One, so that you as a student can see how much you've progressed and what you might still need to work on. And secondly, so that we as teachers can see what we've done well and how we've taught things well, and so that we can improve on in the coming year.
The RISE test is an opportunity for you to show what you've learned and how you've grown. It's time for you to shine!
Why is it important to do your best in school? Because I want to make my parents proud, and I want to get into a good college.
I do well in school because I want to have a good job.
I love my mama and she loves me, and I want to make her happy.
Proving to other people that I can do well.
My motivation to do well in school is so I can get into a good college and get the career I like to get.
So I can get into a good college of basketball and do good in basketball.
I want to make sure that I get the grades that I want. It's all about personal goals, because for me, my mediocrity is not what I want. I want something that makes me feel proud of myself.
When you do your best, you learn and you have more power over the type of person that you can become, because in life there are so many things that you don't know, and it's a wonder to know all the things in this world and still love it.
But I try to do my best so that I can graduate with an associate's from high school.
My friends, my family, and my future.
So I can go to college and to make my parents proud.
I just really want to improve how I do well in school so I can do better in the future.
And I want to get a good job to pay my bills.
My dad, because I want to make him happy and just make sure I show him that I can do well.
To also to have other jobs available to me so I can have more experience in life than my parents could have, because my parents always encouraged me to try harder. Some strategies that I use on the RISE test are to read the questions slowly.
I focus during the test.
I take my time on the questions and I really focus what they're trying to tell me, what it's trying to tell me, and I use context clues.
And then reread the question until I can understand really what it's saying, and then go through all the answers and then read the question again and then answer it.
If I don't understand a question, take it one word at a time until I understand it.
I take my time and I focus on each question.
I also take care of myself. I spend time with myself and focus on my well-being.
I take my time and read all the questions multiple times to make sure I understand them.
Focus on what I'm doing.
You know, I take my time on the test, but at the end of the day, once I'm done with the test, I really just like to ask myself, did I do my best? And if I did, then I'm okay with it. It's really not about comparing myself to others or myself last year. It's just about me doing my best this year.
Think of this as a chance to show off how much you have learned, how much you know, and how much better you have gotten throughout the school year.
Do your best so you will be able to say, I did it. I worked really hard and I got the score, and I'm ready for next year. It's time to rise.